Now, the long-standing traffic jams have been a constant problem for India's IT city, Bengaluru. A report submitted by Karnataka's Planning, Programming and Monitoring and Statistics Department in collaboration with the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry has suggested several measures to counter the traffic tussle of the city. Now, the report released on the 22nd of September has proposed a congestion charge to be imposed on vehicles entering busy roads within the city of Bengaluru. Now, the tax is meant to curb non-essential travel on busy roads during peak hours. Now, this is not the first time such a tax is in talks, as Delhi and Mumbai, of course, proposed similar deterring taxes, but they were never implemented. And probably political reasons are, the reason why it was not implemented. Now, while, of course, we look at this particular development that has come to the fore, or this proposal, the big question that comes up really here is it something that can just remain on paper, or can it actually materialize, and will it actually work in a city like Bengaluru? Now, to discuss more about this, I have a panel of guests who are joining us today. I have Mr. Prasanth GS, a spokesperson of the BJP. We also have Lavanya Ballal from the Congress party, and Srinivas Alavali, a citizen activist, also with us. Srinivas, let me open this up with you, because you've been, of course, time and again quite vocal about urban mobility, usage of public transport. Now, congestion charge or a tax or whatever you may call it, do you think it will probably deter people from using, private vehicles in the city, opt for public transport? Is it feasible for a city like Bengaluru?
It's a good question. Deepak, you know that our traffic is legendary. The brand Bengaluru is associated with the traffic congestion all the time. And one of the main reasons for that is the proliferation of the private vehicles or personal vehicles. As on today, every day 2,000 new vehicles get registered in our city. And the net result is that we have more than 1 crore vehicles, that is two-wheelers and cars in our city. And compared to that, the extent of public transport is quite limited, and therefore people are forced to use the personal vehicles. But all that is changing this year. In a positive development in Bengaluru, the metro is now reaching Whitefield and Electronic City, two of the areas in the city where lakhs of people go to work in their cars. So I'm hoping that that is going to make a big difference in the city, and the government is trying to take advantage of this metro line opening and create better access to it. With regards to congestion charging, it is a serious way of looking at things. Congestion charging applies in many cities, famously in London. It is a little complicated to implement in Indian cities because of the way our streets are, but we have also new technology like fast tag. So some people suggest that using of fast tag for congestion charging. But my personal opinion is that any disincentive that you create, like for example, to reduce the usage of personal vehicles, should be preceded by fully developing the public transport first. That means more metro, better bus, integration between bus and metro, better footpaths and cycling. You do all this, and then you impose congestion charges and other mechanisms to curb the usage of personal vehicles, then it makes a lot more sense. If you put a charge and then not give access to public transport, then people are going to complain, and that's not going to fly in our political system. A lot of people are unhappy. The politicians will not be able to implement such a thing. So I think the sequence in which this needs to be done is first build out public transport, expedite the metro construction, dramatically increase the number of buses in Bengaluru, integrate them better, common ticketing, better feeder buses, and so on. And then you take measures like congestion charging, which will then discourage people from pulling out their car for their daily commute and use public transport more frequently and personal vehicles less frequently. That is the only way in which Bengaluru can fight this traffic problem. And I think we are heading in the right direction as of.
Okay, improve overall public transport and then look at an implementation like this is what Srinivas suggests. But again, our viewers are able to see these graphics as my producer Saksham puts it up on our screens. Now, more importantly here, Tumkuru Road, Magadi Road, Mysore Road, Kanakpura Road, Bannerghatta Road, Hosur Road, Old Madras Road and Old Airport Road. This is where the proposal is. They're saying these are highly congested areas. Basically, it's going to be applicable for all non-exempt vehicles entering Bengaluru during busy periods. Once again, to remind our viewers, this is just a proposal at this point in time. But let's look at it now politically. How is it going to be received? Let's open this up with the Congress party. Lavanya, this is an interesting proposal that's come to the fore. The Deputy Chief Minister, Minister for Bangalore Development, has been very keen on speaking time and again about brand Bengaluru. Traffic is one of the biggest issues that plagues the city. Is this something that's a viable plan, and is the Congress going to look at it very keenly?
Good evening, Deepak. Irrespective of whichever party we belong to, I think this is something that every party will agree to. That is decongesting the city and making it more traffic friendly or making it more people friendly. I mean, if you look at the data right now, I was looking at the data, Deepak, it is shocking the number of man hours we waste every year on Bangalore roads, the number of the diesel or petrol or fuel that we are wasting while we are waiting in the traffic is astounding. So I think this is a step in a way which will improve the life of people in Bangalore, people coming to Bangalore, investments that are happening in Bangalore. It will improve brand Bangalore, and I'm sure no party will have any objections to improving the life of people in Bengaluru. Having said that, I totally agree with Mr. Srinivas Alavalli when he says it has to be very mindful and thoughtful while we are, implementing this. We cannot outright go ahead and implement it. Any party, whichever party it is, it has to be very mindful and ensure that there is last mile connectivity between metro and people. There are more public transport accessibility. All of that has to happen. But if this happens, I think that is going to be fantastic for Bengaluru. I mean, imagine a Bangalore, Deepak. You're also a Bangalorean. Imagine a Bangalore without traffic jams. How awesome would it be?
Let's see what Mr. Prasanth has to say. Lavanya, I'm sure he has an interesting response to this. Mr. Prasanth, how do you really view this proposal?
Deepak, firstly, definitely Bangalore has grown leaps and bounds in the last 2 decades. It's probably one of the fastest growing cities in the last 2 decades. And I don't think anybody can even dispute that fact. Compared to Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai or Hyderabad or Ahmedabad, take any tier 1 metro, Bangalore has grown the fastest. Be that as it may, last mile connectivity is definitely required. More public transport is required. You need to have cycling lanes. All that we completely accept. But what is Mr. D.K. Shivakumar up to here? He wants to fleece the citizens by collecting additional taxes from the people. It is being done only to fulfill their guarantees and not for development. This is the problem. They have not laid out an agenda as to how they want to develop. He was on record a couple of months ago saying no development works can be carried out this year because they don't have money. And they're not releasing money for the works already completed. And also, whatever they're talking about potholes and other things, nothing is being done to even get rid of those. Instead of that, he's wanting to introduce new tax only to collect money from the citizens and to ensure that the government coffers are full to fulfill their guarantees and nothing else. If the real intent was to decongest Bangalore traffic and do all those things, first he should have looked at ensuring that people would voluntarily give up their private transport if the public transport is so good. If you made it citizen friendly, have development agenda to ensure that you have cycling lanes and last mile connectivity. Talk to the auto rickshaw union to ensure that they won't collect more than what is prescribed. If you've done all of that, and then you say, look, you're entering Bangalore or these points at these points, these various points in time, and this is going to congest the traffic, pay cess or money. Most people may be agreeable, but without any of these things, firstly to jump and say, we'll collect taxes, is only to fleece the citizens to fulfill their guarantees and the failed agenda.
Lavanya, this is an interesting response from the BJP. Though it is just a proposal, the BJP is already saying that this is probably another way to just fleece the people, get more money.
Yeah, well, first of all, if BJP has a better idea of how to decongest Bengaluru, they should let us know. I'm sure it will be taken into consideration as well. And in the 4 years that they were governing Karnataka, they did not implement any of the rules that Mr. Prasanth was talking about right now. We know the state of Bengaluru's cycle lanes. Look at South Bengaluru itself. Let's not go to other parts of Karnataka. I'm sorry, Bengaluru. Look at the cycle lanes. What have they done to improve cycle lanes in Bangalore? It is very easy to accuse the opposition party of all kind of imaginary stuff. And by the way, this idea does not come from the deputy CM. His idea is only to improve brand Bengaluru, and he's trying everything possible to ensure there is ease of living in Bengaluru. Now, this suggestion of collection of taxes, congestion tax, comes from the experts who are involved in all kind of how to decongest a city. It comes from experts, and congestion tax is applicable not just in Bangalore. I mean, it is there in London, it is there in Stockholm, it is there in Singapore as well. This is one way to decongest. But if BJP has a better idea of how to decongest, then we are always open to feedback. I'm sure BJP also wants the city to be decongested at the end of the day, right?
Okay. Srinivas, quickly, we, the two politicians, on one hand, of course, Lavanya are saying this is something that's the need of the hour, and we will go according to what the experts are saying and plan it accordingly. But the BJP is saying that this is probably just a money-making opportunity for the Congress party. But I want to once again come back to you, like Lavanya was just pointing out, you have countries like Singapore, like London, even cities like London, Stockholm, all of them who've already implemented something like this. But of course, their public transport, especially when you have the metro connectivity, the bus connectivity, it's far, far better, and it's been going on for decades now. So in comparison to have something like that in Bengaluru, you already touched down on that aspect. So in the next couple of years, if we have to really look at this materializing, what should be the immediate steps to be taken by the government here?
The immediate step is to build out public transport in its full form. The Shakti scheme has brought so many more passengers to bus. We used to, BMTC, the Bengaluru's lifeline, the bus system, used to carry around 33 lakh trips a day. Today, it carries around 45 lakhs. This is because of the free travel to women scheme, Shakti scheme. As a result of which, a lot more people are now using public transport than personal vehicles. So it will have certain impact. Similarly, when metro reaches Whitefield in any day now, yesterday the security clearance came, in a few days, there are going to be thousands and thousands of people that work in the IT sector living in South Bengaluru and West Bengaluru will now use metro instead of their personal vehicles. Again, congestion will come down to some extent. Subsequently, Electronic City, and then the biggest fish of them all, Outer Ring Road, where 12 lakh people work with, and a lot of them use their cars to go there. So if we address these issues, there is going to be some relief to the congestion. In the mobility scenario, Deepak, there's always said that two things need to be done. One, you need to encourage public transport. At the same time, discourage personal transport. For example, parking. You make parking free, that encourages people to use the car. And you make parking expensive or paid parking, then people will think, oh, maybe I'll use metro for this trip or a bus instead of taking my car. Then I have to pay parking and then I have to walk and all of these kind of things. So the mobility science in all the world cities is based on these principles. Encourage public transport, discourage personal transport. In that, congestion charges come into picture. Congestion charges are not going to give you a lot of money. It's not going to raise a lot of revenues for the government. In fact, you can argue that if more people are applied congestion charges, they will use public transport. That is a carrot and stick approach, right? If you have congestion charges, the idea is that more people will take public transport. That is what we're trying to accomplish by putting the congestion charge, not to get more money out of the congestion. Then people will not pay for it, because why am I paying more money for getting into the same traffic that I used to get earlier, right? So that is what is going to happen. So no government is going to impose congestion charges without creating adequate public transport. I am quite convinced.
But there's also the logic that on tobacco products, on liquor products, the taxes keep going up, the sales are not going down. In the same way, while of course people opt to use private vehicles, and if you charge a congestion tax, and if people do continue to use that because your public transport is not good enough, then it becomes more of a form of income than, an alternate. So that's where, really for the government to ensure that they have a steady public transport system in place is important.
Deepak,
today
you have public
3 hours
to do that. Without having public infrastructure and having
Prasanth, I just have about a minute. I'm just going to have let Srinivas complete. I'll come back to you and you can close.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take 10 seconds. So I think these ideas are very important to be discussed in public domain because we have not taken care of understanding our mobility situation and then taking necessary steps. Some will be short term, some will be medium term, some will be long term. I'm very happy that an expert body has come out and suggested a congestion charges. I think we should look at it on the merits of that. Politics will always be there, but this is actually a very valid and accepted method of reducing traffic congestion in across global cities. So we should discuss that. It doesn't mean that it should be implemented tomorrow or maybe not even in the next few months or whatever. But
Okay,
it's a very
I'm really
valid
short
proposal.
of time, Srinivas. Your point's taken there. I'll quickly bring in Prasanth. Prasanth, we have about 30 seconds. Please make it quick.
See, Deepak, unless the last mile connectivity is fixed, Mr. Srinivas is talking about a all good situation where everything is right, is going well, and the intent of the government saying that they will not do it to collect more taxes. No, the intent of this government is what I am talking about, saying they're wanting to collect money in different forms. They've already brought in some new cess, and they've increased the property guidance value charges. So at wherever possible, they're trying to increase the collection from the public. Which is why we have a problem with DK Shivakumar's statement, because he is doing nothing for development, but only making statements and divert attention from the public minds to ensure that there is no development. At the same time, to bring on record that he wants to collect more taxes.
Well, the
This is not done.
BJP sees this as an opportunity for the Congress to make money. The Congress is saying, well, it's not our idea. These are experts giving these suggestions. And as far as, Mr. Srinivas, who of course has seen urban mobility, he suggests that at this point in time, improving public transport is quintessential at this point in time before coming up with a plan like this. But overall, for our viewers, of course, who've seen this, congestion tax is a proposal only at this point in time. We'll really have to see if and when it does materialize, how it will be received by the people living in the IT capital. I thank all our panelists. We are slipping in a quick break on that note. An important update coming up on the other side. Don't go anywhere.